Damian Boeselager, thank you for sitting down with the Schuman Show.
Thank you for having me.
You have pushed for more transparency, and I'm assuming it's not see-through clothes.
Look, I think there's an issue that a lot of people currently believe that politicians are somehow corrupt. Yeah? Like that's, if you look at the numbers.
Well, why would you think that?
So,
why would they think that that would somehow corrupt?
I give you a non-obvious reason, and then I give you an obvious reason. The non-obvious reason is similar to what I said earlier. Since the 1980s, party membership in Europe has halved. You can fact check that if you want.
Okay.
But it means that people really don't have a lot of experience of being part of a political party and knowing politicians quite close, because if you're part of a political party, you understand that it's not so far away. So there's already a distance created between society and politicians. And the second reason is there are some pretty prominent cases of corruption, especially also in the European Parliament, that made it through the news to every household of the European Union. The one that everyone, I think, has probably heard of is Eva Kaili, who was a Greek MEP and who got some money from Qatar.
Of course, you had to bring up the one Greek MEP, didn't you?
I am very sorry.
Just because you know I'm Greek.
I'm very sorry.
Trust a German to bring up something that a Greek did that was wrong.
The good thing is...
What about the Italians that were involved in that
there
scandal,
were a lot
Damian?
of Italians involved, but they sneaked their way out of it.
More than the Greeks. There was one Greek. How many Italians?
I wouldn't even be able to count them all.
That said, yes, you're right. Qatargate was the one time that the European Parliament really was on the map.
I was a bit, sad and shocked also because, you work for... I think I worked for 4 years in the European Parliament. I tried to communicate a lot about it, like maybe one or two little articles will make it somewhere. But as soon as this scandal hit, and it was a horrible scandal.
Did you feel relevant?
No, but I got home after Christmas and everyone, even though they never cared at all about my work, was like, and where's your bag of money? And this is funny, but it's also very sad because we don't really get through with all the positive work that we do. Let's say all the other, 719 MEPs that were there, that are hopefully trying to do their work well. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit unfair because the trial still hasn't really happened, I think. So we should also still be careful. But yes, I think there was a lot of harm done.
I think that not only was there a lot of harm done, but recently there was a new scandal, Huaweigate. And that begs the question, have any lessons been learned? Was there any transparency after Qatargate?
So I think the first important thing to say is the European Parliament is probably the most transparent parliament in Europe.
Yeah? Is that why we caught it?
I think to an extent there is, also for the Eva Kaili case, an argument to be made that the transparency that we have in committee votes, that we have basically by committees being publicly available, that's not the case in all countries, that you can actually stream the committee debates and so on, that all votes are registered, most votes are registered. I think that's a very positive thing. But we did ask, and this is also your original question, for more transparency. And I've been working very closely with Daniel Freund from the Greens to promote more transparency within our own group, but also within Parliament. I think we got some changes through in the last mandate at the end, where we basically managed to say that everybody should record their lobby meetings, also Manfred Weber, who hadn't done that before and so on. But yeah, I think a lot can still be done.
But is there such a thing as too much transparency? Because, white lies, they can be useful sometimes. Like, when you pretend that you like your mother-in-law, or you tell your boyfriend that size doesn't matter.
These are very good examples of where maybe lies are helpful, but I think there are others, for example, when it is about, hey, whose money do I take to write policy, when maybe a lie shouldn't be the case, but also you should just not take the money. So I think, look, who do I meet? Who's influencing my policy proposals? What kind of stuff do I write? Do I take this from somewhere? I think that's important too. Transparency won't stop people from doing illegal acts. And this is normally a conservative narrative, but I do agree with that. If you want to take a bribe, you probably don't give a shit about the fact that you have to decide somewhere.
Especially if you will take even a small amount, like the Huawei ones.
So this is so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, now they will probably lose their entitlement to their pensions, which is, I guess, thousands of euros for taking 2,500 euros or something for a signature under a stupid letter.
Cost of living. So Damian, you've been leading a group of MEPs who are calling for new rules to increase attendance to plenary debates, which, let's be honest, are usually pretty empty. What is the real reason you're pushing for it? Is it because when MEPs are stuck in plenary, they can't be bribed?
It might be a positive side effect. No, the real reason is that I think we really need representative European debate. Yeah? If people are for migration or against migration, they want people in Parliament to fight for their causes. That's why we elect these people for. So I really would love to have more controversial debates so that actually people could follow it and say, wow, this is interesting. These people are fighting for us. I would love for us to sit closer together, have really full rooms so that there's an actual atmosphere of not physical, but actual fighting about our topics. I think that would be amazing.
Some of the rules and ideas in the measures that you've mentioned are that there's no speaking schedule published so that MEPs don't know when their turn is. Is that true?
I mean, that's what Metzeler made of a long list of demands that we had. There's a lot more stuff that we would like. In general, I think we would also like to have longer speaking time and yes, more spontaneous so that you can basically come there. You don't know if you will be taken. You can raise your hand and then maybe it's your turn, maybe it's not.
And what is it called? Is it catch the eye when you're trying to get someone's attention?
Catch the eye is not really. The blue card is when you really want to ask someone a question.
You have cards, like in football.
It's not a red card and not a yellow card, it's a blue card, but it's basically just a little button you press and then it's a question. And this is basically, I think, the best moment to create a moment of tension and debate because you're actually asking someone who's standing there in the front a question. They get quite nervous. Everybody's a bit more like, there's some nervosity in the air, but it's not enough because then they just reply once and there's no follow-up debate. So I think we need more debating formats in the European Parliament.
So it's basically a bit like what happens to stand-up comedians. You don't tell them when they're going to be, everyone's on their toes, and they don't just show up when they perform, right?
Exactly. And
they're there for the whole show.
Then we just need to be a bit funnier. Maybe.
I'm just saying, you want viral moments. We could brainstorm a whole list of ways to make the European Parliament actually blow up.
That's true. We actually created one. I got retweeted by Elon Musk as someone...
you got retweeted by Elon?
As the evil guy. So
of course.
Why? Because so Fidias, who is this YouTuber here in the European Parliament, also a member of Parliament, we attacked him with I think 6 blue cards as a follow-up. And Fidias posted this and then Elon Musk actually posted it again and said, here, Fidias is representing free speech and he's being attacked by these evil parliamentarians, including Damian Boeselager. My moment of fame, nobody knew my name, but it doesn't matter.
What if we just give up and replace all MEPs with AI? Wouldn't that be easier?
I think the work would be much better. Yeah.
Well, you joke, but would it?
I think that parliamentarians are good when they bring in new ideas, when they really come up with, listening to the people around them and use their brain to proactively shape different perspectives. If I just reproduce what my party has always said, I'm not adding creatively to the process and it's going to be very boring and they could be replaced by an AI. I mean, Berlusconi last mandate was a good example of someone who did not do a single law.
Did you guys even notice when he died?
No. We didn't notice the first time he was... I saw him only once in Parliament, to be honest.
Do you use AI in your work?
I did play around with it in the beginning a lot when ChatGPT came out. I actually was on the Wikipedia page of AI. I don't know why, because I gave a speech written by an AI in Shakespearean English of how to regulate AI.
Was that your viral attempt in the plenary?
It was quite viral. It was definitely more viral than some of the laws I worked on for 1.5 years that nobody cared about. And this took, I think in maybe 5 minutes or so to prepare. But that's a bit the sad side.
Public attention is very fickle, Damian. So aside from leading your party in Parliament, you are a member of the Econ Committee, right? What is that?
It's a committee that cares about the economy.
And ITRE? What's ITRE?
It cares about industrial policy.
And budget? Budget? Cont?
Oh, that's my worst committee. It's a budget control committee. You basically follow the money.
One of the big tasks that the Econ Committee has is to legislate on the financial system of the EU. What's going on in that field? Are we going to be paying meme coins soon? Should I be putting all my savings into the new Donald Trump crypto? Or do you have better financial advice for me?
I think if you want to make Donald Trump rich and basically reward him for his work, sure, spend all your money in his Trump coins. No, I think, look, one thing that I'm working on, which I really like, is a digital euro. It would allow you to basically pay for free. It is like cash, but digital. And so you can basically give people money without having to pay the fees for MasterCard or Visa, which currently the retailers are paying.
And what do you need to make that a reality?
The EPP to come around.
So we need 500 MEPs from Volt to get elected.
No, you can just calculate how much it is to bribe them, and then you know the amount of money that you need to make it work.
What are the prices? How do you bribe an MEP? Give me your menu.
That's very mean. I think most people are really doing a good job.
Would you be a fan of bringing in the Americans from Silicon Valley to European Silicon Valley?
You know that 1/4 of the unicorns in the US is founded by Europeans. Yeah, so
Who'll go there, though?
they go there, they found their company, they become immensely rich. So the question is like,
You want to repatriate them.
I mean, I would just ask them to maybe come back. They still have their
Baby,
passports.
come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need a campaign which is like, come back, baby, or something like this. And says like, look, this guy doesn't want you with his toupee and the orange color of his face. How about you just come back here and we will create...
But what do you think concretely would lure them back? How could you sweeten the deal for them?
So these people are founders, yeah? Like
Yeah.
they want to build something. So what they need is a university with decent funding. I think what they need is to be able to scale their business across the European market, which means we need, for example, maybe English as a second official language or third official language, whatever,
Don't tell the French that.
in all EU countries, including France. Yeah. So,
Good luck, Damien.
Yes.
Good luck.
We're trying.
There's this cliche of Germans loving their big cars and not wanting any regulation at all. But you also represent another big cliche of Germans, the vegetarians, the club mate drinkers, the ones who walk barefoot and go to holiday on Mallorca. Which one is the more modern German?
Look, I recently had a moment when I saw two fathers like comparing the e-bike, their Lastenrad, as we say, like, you know, these huge ones with the basket. And that was, for me, the most German moment I've ever seen, because they were comparing how many gears their bike has and so on. So this is the new German, really being very specific about the technicalities of their device, but maybe being a bit more green about it.
Okay, so there is hope for the Green Deal after all.
I think
At least
so.
in Germany.
I think so.
You are a member of the delegation for relations between Europe and Canada, correct?
Yay.
Can you tell us a little bit about what a delegation is?
It's basically like this group of people that travels to that country from time to time and meets parliamentarians from that country from time to time. I have yet to figure out whether it's useful or not, but at least you get to know some Canadians.
It must be kind of exciting to have Canada as your country, what with everything that's been going on with Canadian and American politics at the moment, no?
It is definitely interesting, and my partner is Canadian, so I have also an additional vested interest. I think I'm super relieved. This is really good news for Europe, because Marcani says he wants to work with us on defense. He wants to be part of Rearm Europe. He wants to work on transatlantic integration. I mean,
Do you think that we would ever get them as a member state?
no, I think they're a great country on their own.
All right, we're going to go for a quick fire round, and then I'm going to let you get back to your work. In one word, what is the European way of life?
Chill.
What is your favorite thing about Brussels?
The weather.
Have you ever been to Place Luxembourg?
Plus Luxembourg.
Yeah.
And I try to avoid it on Thursday nights, but apart from that, I cross it a lot.
Okay. What is your favorite movie?
Mr. Nobody is amazing.
What is your favorite European city that isn't your own?
Rome.
Favorite dish?
Yeah, and the first one is cacio e pepe, because I was just in Rome, so let's stay with that.
Cacio e
Whatever.
pepe. It's a good one. It's a solid one. A figure from history that you'd like to have dinner with?
Rasputin.
The skill you wish they taught MEPs in school?
Statistics.
Your go-to karaoke song?
Every time from Britney Spears.
Wow, I did not expect you to be a Britney fan. And finally, what is your favorite live show about European politics?
At the Schuman Show.
Thank you very much for sitting down with the Schuman Show, Damien.
Thank you.